20 movie remakes that are better than the original version. Hollywood seems to be addicted to movie remakes. Remaking a movie is risky, especially if there's nothing wrong with the original. Most of the time, it doesn't work, and it's obvious when something is cash. However, many of the remakes stand firm and even surpass their originals. A great remake enhances the existing material while adding something new that makes the story feel fresh. 1 of 20. West Side Story. No one but Steven Spielberg could take a classic story like West Side Story and make it feel completely new and groundbreaking. Inspired by Romeo and Juliet, this musical follows Tony and Maria, who are from rival gangs in New York and fall in love. Spielberg's masterful direction, visuals, technical work, and choreography make this film a cinematic triumph and one of his best films. New layers are added to the story and old components of the original are improved. 2 of 20. A Star is Born. There have been 4 film versions of A Star is Born, but Bradley Cooper's 2018 version eclipses them all. The adaptation follows Jackson Maine, an alcoholic musician who falls in love with Ally, an up-and-coming artist. Cooper's chemistry with Lady Gaga is utterly authentic and radiates from the screen, bringing a devastating and timeless love story to life. The film's soundtrack is also a highlight, with the title track Shallow becoming a huge hit and winning an Oscar. 3 out of 20. Hill. An adaptation of Frank Herbert's epic sci-fi novel based on David Lynch's 1984 version, which didn't quite hit the mark. However, acclaimed director Denis Villeneuve brought his vision to the world of Iraqis with his critically and commercially successful 2021. Villeneuve's film is an all-encompassing, technical masterpiece thanks to its sweeping desert vistas, booming score, stylish VFX, and meticulous production design. 4 out of 20. Little Women. Louisa May Alcott's Little Women is a classic of American literature and has been adapted for film many times. Just when it felt like nothing could be done to make the story feel exciting and timely again, Greta Gerwig added her magical touch with the 2019 remake. With an incredibly star-studded cast with the likes of Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, and more, Gerwig brings the trials and tribulations of the March sisters to life with sincerity, intimacy, and heart. 5 out of 20. Dragon Pit. Disney's live-action remakes are usually very successful with critics and audiences, as the original is usually superior. However, 2016's Pete's Dragon is one of the studio's rare live-action adaptations that is better than its predecessor. This 1977 film is one of Disney's lesser-known and popular efforts to combine live-action with 2D animation. The 2016 version adds more weight, maturity, and emotion to the story, offering something refreshing. 6 out of 20. Scarface. The 1983 film Scarface starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer is one of the most iconic crime films of all time. The film is so successful that most people don't know that it is a remake of the 1932 film of the same name. The main story also revolves around Tony conquering the underworld and encountering many unexpected enemies that threaten his empire. The 1932 version is a prime example of a great neo-noir film, but nothing like Al Pacino shooting up and yelling, "Say hello to my little friend." 7 out of 20. Flight. David Cronenberg's The Fly is a sci-fi horror film that features the director's well-known use of body horror and has subsequently become one of the genre's staples. Many viewers may not know that this is a remake of the 1958 film of the same name. The story also revolves around a scientist who invents a teleportation device only to have a terrible accident happen. Cronenberg's remake is a winner thanks to its groundbreaking and stomach-churning makeup and prosthetics. 8 out of 20. Coda. Coda was the feel-good movie of 2021 that won the Oscar for the best film and the hearts of audiences around the world. It is a remake of the 2014 French film The Blair Family, which also follows a young musical girl who is the only hearing member of her family. Unlike the original, Coda casts real deaf actors to play the deaf characters, adding an authenticity to the performances that makes the difference. Deaf actor Troy Kotsur even won an Oscar for his incredible work. 9 out of 20. The Gone. Martin Scorsese's career is full of incredible films, but it was The Departed that finally won him the Oscar for Best Director as well as Best Picture. The film is a remake of the Hong Kong film Infernal Affairs, which also follows an undercover cop in a gang and a gang member who infiltrates the police. Both films are worth seeing, but Scorsese's characters elevate the story to a whole new level, as do Leonardo's powerful performances. DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, and Mark Wahlberg. 10 of 20. The Parent Trap. When you think of The Parent Trap, you instantly think of Little Lindsay Lohan squared. Sure, Disney released the original film in 1961, but the 1998 version has become a family classic and a defining childhood film. Lohan plays twins Annie and Hallie, who are separated at birth and try to get their parents back together after meeting at summer camp. Lohan's dual performance is utterly impressive for her age at the time, and the film features plenty of fun antics and mischievous plots. 11 of 20. The Thing. John Carpenter is one of the most influential directors of all time, and his sci-fi flick The Thing is a stone-cold classic. The 80s movie is a remake of 1951's The Thing from Another World, which also follows scientists on an Arctic expedition who encounter a bloodthirsty alien. However, the monster in Carpenter's film is a shape-shifting and disturbingly revolting organism, brought to life with impressive yet frankly disgusting practical effects that were unprecedented at the time. 12 of 20. The Jungle Book. While the same cannot be said for his 2019 remake of The Lion King, Jon Favreau's 2016 live-action The Jungle Book has a lot more going for it than the original 1967 film. Yes, the cartoon is a Disney classic in its own right, but Favreau's film improves upon the material by adding more depth, backstory, and scope to the world, particularly around Mowgli's character. The visuals and CGI are also a wonder to behold, reminiscent of a David Attenborough documentary. 13 of 20. The Birdcage. The Birdcage, starring Nathan Lane and Robin Williams, is a remake of the French-Italian film La Cage aux Folles. Both follow a gay couple who pretend to be heterosexual when meeting their son's fiancée's conservative parents. The original film is just as fun as the remake and was nominated for 3 Oscars. However, the American version connected with audiences on a higher level, thanks to the star power of Lane and Williams and the sharp and witty script. 14 of 20. It. Stephen King's It is a mammoth of a novel and a tricky beast to adapt for the screen. The 1990s mini-series features a terrifying Tim Curry as Pennywise but feels more cartoonish rather than scary. In 2017 and 2019, the book was once again adapted for the screen and split into 2 films. While It, Chapter 2 received mixed reviews, the first movie perfectly brought King's capsule of youth and terror to life, with an impeccable young cast and a horrifyingly creepy Bill Skarsgård as the titular clown. 15 of 20. Heat. Before director Michael Mann released Heat, the crime heist film starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer, he directed the TV movie LA Takedown. The twist Heat is actually a remake of LA Takedown, both directed by Mann. The stories themselves are very similar, but Heat comes out leaps and bounds ahead thanks to the acting caliber on display, a bigger budget, and sleeker execution. Hard-hitting and tense, it is enthralling from start to finish. 16 of 20. True Lies. The 1991 French film La Totale was the basis for James Cameron's 1994 action comedy True Lies, but since that film never got a US release, no one really knows that True Lies is a remake. Both films follow a secret agent who believes his wife is having an affair and uses his skills to uncover the truth. While True Lies is faithful to its predecessor, Cameron amps up the action significantly, as well as the excitement with stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. 17 of 20. War of the Worlds. In 1938, The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells was famously broadcast on the radio by Orson Welles. Since then, two adaptations have been theatrically released, The War of the Worlds in 1953 and War of the Worlds in 2005. Both films revolve around an alien invasion on Earth but are very different in story and execution. The 2005 version definitely has an edge over its predecessor, thanks to strong character development, Steven Spielberg's direction, and Tom Cruise's screen presence. 18 of 20. The Mummy. The Mummy is a fan-favorite adventure film among cinephiles, featuring the beloved Brendan Fraser as the charming and heroic Rick O'Connell. The monster was first brought to life by Universal Pictures in 1932's original The Mummy, which also sees a group of archaeologists accidentally awaken an Egyptian mummy from the dead. While this version features effective old-school thrills, the 1999 film remains the most whimsical and entertaining. We won't talk about Tom Cruise's 2017 remake. 19 of 20. True Grit. 1969's True Grit is one of the most prominent Western films of all time, featuring none other than John Wayne. However, the Coen brothers managed to breathe new life into the old tale with their 2010 remake. Both follow a young girl who hires a hunter to track down her father's murderer. The Coens make their version of the story feel more gritty and realistic in style, separating it from other typical westerns. It also features a brilliant breakthrough performance from a young Haley Steinfeld. 20 out of 20. Hairspray. John Waters' 1988 musical comedy Hairspray is an unabashedly camp and satirical romp, but 2007's remake added a whole new level of energy and entertainment to the acclaimed film. The star power of the remake is out of this world, with pitch-perfect casting and performances from John Travolta, Zac Efron, Queen Latifah, Christopher Walken, and many, many more. The infectious songs and dazzling choreography will have you dancing in your seat and smiling from start to finish. 20 movie remakes that are better than the original version. Hollywood seems to be addicted to movie remakes. Remaking a movie is risky, especially if there's nothing wrong with the original. Most of the time, it doesn't work, and it's obvious when something is cash. However, many of the remakes stand firm and